Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to English Grade 9 video lecture series. I hope that you're doing well. Students, today we are going to start our unit number 6 and this is our introductory lecture. Yes, in the last lecture we have covered the different SLOs and the last lecture was about specifically research and writing. हमने देखा था कि we had a project. According to the students' learning outcome, we talked about a project about women empowerment. So I hope आपने उसके ऊपर काम करना start कर दिया है. Complete that project and you can also submit it and then get yourself assessed for that project. Now we will also arrange a very quick short test like last time we did on parts of speech and also tenses, right? All right. So here we have these different students learning outcomes. We are going to begin a new lesson, a new unit. So some of the things might sound repeated, but we are going to learn something more advanced every time that SLO comes up. So if you find the SLO coming up again and again, that's okay. We are going to learn something new or some detailed thing with examples and new activities for you to solve. For lecture number 1A, this is about your vocabulary, your competency of vocabulary. The SLO says that acquire and use appropriate words and phrases for reading, writing, speaking, and listening. These are our language skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. All right. Independently gather vocabulary when considering a word or phrase important for comprehension or expression. So students, why do we consult dictionaries? To find out about the meanings of different words. और इससे हमारी vocabulary enhance होती है. हमारे पास एक बहुत अच्छा ज़ख़ीरा vocabulary का जमा हो जाता है with synonyms, antonyms, with homophones, homonyms, homographs, and so many things, so that we can utilize that according to the context, right? In this very SLO, we are going to talk about how we can use words and phrases for all these competencies. Independently gather vocabulary. Gathering vocabulary means learning new words. Learning new words, noting them down, writing their meanings, making sentences to make a notebook of vocabulary. ताकि आप ज़्यादा vocabulary याद करें और unfamiliar words और phrases को tackle करने में आपको आसानी हो. So this is what the learning outcome is about. This is about finding meanings of words and phrases. Next one, again this SLO, which we have covered so many times, using all types of tenses correctly in speech and writing. So we will go through the different tenses once again in a very short time, and then we will have some activities for you for the past, present, and future tenses with all the variations like present simple, present continuous, present perfect, and perfect continuous of the present tense, and similarly with other tenses as well. So we will also have a short quick test in this lesson, so you have to recall and memorize all of your tenses. आप tenses को अच्छे तरीके से तैयार करके आएंगे for this lecture, and then we will practice it during our lecture. All right. Lecture number 2 is about parts of speech, and we are going to cover conjunctions and transitional devices. Now, conjunctions हमने students already cover किया है. They are one of the most important parts of speech. We talked about its definition. कौन से वो words हैं जो आपके words, phrases और different ideas को connect करते हैं. और we have different types like correlative conjunctions where they are formed in pairs, or coordinating conjunctions and also subordinating conjunctions. So again, जिस तरह हम tenses को cover करेंगे, इसी तरह हम conjunctions को cover करेंगे with types and examples, and we will have a very short, quick live test during this lecture as well. So conjunctions को revise करें, ये पिछले unit में हम already पढ़ चुके हैं with all the different types. All right. Now for lecture 3A, we are going to talk about making or constructing sentences using the sentence patterns and structures learned in earlier classes. Sentence patterns like subject, verb, object. कितना बेसिक पैटर्न है कि आपके सेंटेंस में पहले सब्जेक्ट आए, फिर वर्ब आए और फिर ऑब्जेक्ट. दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल SVO पैटर्न. इसके अलावा वी हैव SVO कॉम्प्लीमेंट, SVOC. हमने पहले भी इसको कवर किया है, हम इसको डिटेल में देखेंगे. एंड ऑल दीज डिफरेंट पैटर्न्स. So again, we will take the same approach, that there will be classroom activities of different MCQs and exercises which you are going to see, and you're going to participate in learning these sentence patterns and structure. All right, in the next lecture, we are going to talk about applying knowledge of parts of speech, tenses, sentence structure, and other features of grammar and vocabulary to understand how language functions in different contexts, make effective choices for meaning or style while reading, listening, and writing. So many things are going on in this learning outcome. Parts of speech, each and every one of them. Tenses, again, sentence का structure जब हम बात करेंगे तो हम क्या सीखेंगे? Sentence patterns को. तो सारे पैटर्न्स को हम क्लियर करेंगे, कवर करेंगे, एंड ऑल्सो अदर फीचर्स ऑफ ग्रामर एंड वोकैबुलरी. सो दिस विल बी अ वेरी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव काइंड ऑफ लेक्चर विद डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज. तो इस लेक्चर के लिए क्या करना है आपने? पहले दैट रिवाइज योर ग्रामर, रिवाइज ऑल द पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच, रिवाइज योर टेंसेस, रिवाइज योर स्ट्रक्चर जो हमने लास्ट यूनिट के एक लेसन में किए थे, एंड देन यू कम प्रिपेयर फॉर द लेसन फॉर live activities and also your feedback. Lecture 4 is about reading, where we will read, view, and analyze a variety of reading, grade appropriate and high interest books and texts from print and non-print sources. And this time we are going to talk about interpersonal texts. Last time हमने personal recounts को जिक्र किया था. We also talked about biographies and autobiographies. ये सारे डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ टेक्स्ट हैं. अब इंटरपर्सनल टेक्स्ट क्या है? इंटरपर्सनल टेक्स्ट लाइक योर इनफॉर्मल एंड फॉर्मल लेटर्स, नोटिसेस एंड ईमेल्स. सो हाउ कैन वी राइट दीज इंटरपर्सनल काइंड्स ऑफ टेक्स्ट? इनफॉर्मल लेटर का स्ट्रक्चर क्या होना चाहिए, किस तरह की लैंग्वेज, किस तरह की डिक्शन एंड वर्ड चॉइस होगी, एंड हम देखेंगे दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ word choice, structure and format we are going to follow for formal letters. So ये दोनों करेंगे. Even we will talk about notices and writing emails. Now understanding writing and making emails are very much important. It's a very good skill that we will cover. We will check out so many different kinds of emails, focus on the language and how the message is conveyed actually. Lecture 5 again is about your reading comprehension, where you will talk about analyzing organizational patterns in a text. So when we are talking about organizing a text, we find list or sequence of ideas, events, we find comparison, contrast, relationship, cause and effect, problem solution, reason, assumption and conclusion. So how many things do we have? List and sequence of ideas, 1. Comparison and contrast, cause and effect, problem solution, reasons and assumptions. So we are going to see all these things जो कि एक टेक्स्ट में, एक प्रोज में हम फाइंड करते हैं. cause effect relation, what is the problem, what is the solution of that problem mentioned in the text. So all these things, इसको हम क्या कहेंगे? Organizational patterns of a text. So we will analyze with a different text. Now, this SLO is about writing answers to the text. तो जब हम आंसर्स लिखेंगे स्टूडेंट्स, क्या करेंगे? एविडेंस और रेफरेंसेस देंगे अपने आंसर में, किससे? टेक्स्ट से. ऑलराइट. Cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly, as well as inferences drawn from the text. Now, text की दो layers हैं students, basic. One is the surface layer, जो आप पढ़ के समझ आते हैं, but the other one is hidden. It is implicit. उसको समझने के लिए आपको critical thinking skills यूज करना पड़ेंगी, उसके अंदर inference करना पड़ेगा to get the hidden information. We will see both of that. Surface level जो वाजिया तौर पे चीज है उसको हम कहते हैं explicit, वो तो हमारे सामने है. लेकिन जो चीज hidden है, जो implied है, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? Implicit. तो explicit और implicit का relation and also inference. There are some steps and strategies जिनको हम यूज करके इंफर करेंगे किसी भी टेक्स्ट के हवाले से. एंड बाय फॉलोइंग दीज थिंग्स यू कैन आंसर एनी काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन इन योर एग्जामिनेशन बाय रीडिंग द टेक्स्ट एंड देन पुटिंग फॉरवर्ड योर स्ट्रेटजीज. नेक्स्ट वन, दिस इज अबाउट oral communication. Demonstrate attentive listening skills to respond orally with standard pronunciation. हम कुछ वर्ड्स लेंगे, कॉमन वर्ड्स जो कि बहुत ज्यादा मिसप्रोनाउंस किए जाते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल द वर्ड प्रोनाउंसिएशन. व्हाट डू वी कॉल इट? वी से प्रोनाउंसिएशन. दिस इज रॉन्ग. We'll talk about pronunciation, we'll talk about attentive listening skills and standard pronunciation. Pronunciation कैसे सीखेंगे हम? क्या हमें करना है? क्या एक्टिविटीज हैं जो हम करेंगे? और स्टैंडर्ड प्रोनाउंसिएशन जो है, as we are not native speakers, we are non-native speakers of English. हमारी फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज तो उर्दू है या पंजाबी है या डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस हैं. नेटिव आवर ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज, नेटिव लैंग्वेज इज उर्दू, national language is Urdu. So we are going to see that how we can come up about pronunciation. All right. This is about writing. We will write formal letters to people in extended academic and professional environments. Again, reading में हमने क्या सीखा था? क्या सीखेंगे हम? We'll talk about structuring formal and informal letters. And when we are talking about writing, हम यहाँ पे फॉर्मल लेटर को लिखेंगे. यस, फॉर्मल लेटर. फॉर्मल लेटर लिखा जाता है जब आप अपने प्रिंसिपल को लेटर लिखते हैं, अथॉरिटीज को, अपने से सीनियर्स को इन डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल फॉर्मल लेटर. इवन इफ यू राइट letter to the chief editor of a newspaper, to the editor, this is also a formal kind of letter. We will see in different scenarios how formal letters are written. Now this is very interesting. In the writing competency we will use hyphens. Hyphens क्या है? Punctuation cue. This is a punctuation mark. Looks like a dash. Okay. Hyphens, hyphenated nouns and adjectives. Mostly students, nouns and adjectives, जब compound nouns and adjectives होते हैं तो हम क्या करते हैं? We use hyphens to join them together, to make them work as one unit. So we will see letter string OUGH words. ये जो OUGH words होते हैं, जैसे through है या though है, how do you spell these words? How do you pronounce these words? जिनके एंड में ये लेटर पैटर्न आएगा OUGH. कितने वर्ड्स बनते हैं इससे? बहुत सारे. एंड दे आर प्रोनाउंस्ड एंड रिटन डिफरेंटली. सो Since we are talking about writing, तो हम क्या करेंगे कि हम देखेंगे how we can spell these kinds of letter strings correctly. So इसमें हम hyphens को देखेंगे, usage of hyphen. There are so many different rules जो hyphen को use करने के लिए हमने सीखने हैं इस लेक्चर में, और हमने OUGH letter pattern को भी समझना है with pronunciation and spelling. These are all the lectures that we will cover. Inshallah, in the very next lecture, we will talk about our lecture number 1. So students, this was just an introduction. So if you have any kind of confusion about any of these SLOs that I have read to you, then you can just raise your hands, unmute yourself, and put forward your question. Right. Every SLOs are clear? So I hope that you come prepared, especially for tenses and parts of speech. So grammar और tenses के लिए आपने fully prepared होकर आना है, and we will have interactive activities and exercises. Thank you, students. See you in the next video lesson with lecture number 1. Allah Hafiz.